Hi, I'm Mitch Gallagher. Welcome to segment 3 of Guitars and Gear, presented by Sweetwater and Premier Guitar magazine. And I am joined by John Levy, publisher of Premier Guitar, and Don Carr, guitarist extraordinaire, your official title, and product specialist from Sweetwater.
It's on his name badge.
It's on my name badge.
Yes, extraordinaire is all that says. It doesn't even need a name on it. So in this segment, we have so many great products coming up. We've got a new amplifier coming up from Hughes and Kettner that you're going to want to stick around, check that out. We've got a pedal from Boss. We've got another PRS guitar coming out here. Lots of great things. But let's kick things off with an amp that, I mean, you and I have had a chance to play through these amps, the whole family of these amps. Yeah. And with the Crush Series 2015, Orange has just knocked it out of the park.
Oh, man, absolutely. It's ridiculous. I mean, seriously, it really is. It's a compact size, it's a great sounding amp, and it's super versatile, and, you know, price point is just outrageous.
And the different models, they cover so many different, you know, just functional aspects of owning an amp. Well, let's check it out. You can see what's in the video, and then we'll talk more about that later.
The Orange Crush 35 RT is a 35-watt amp that is channel switching, and it has a ton of features, man. In this tiny little package, there's a 10-inch speaker, and the back is completely closed, so it's got a nice projection on it. You get a lot of low end out of it. Let's go to the panel to check out some of the features. Again, it's a channel switching amp. Here's your clean, dirty switch. This is the volume control for the dirty channel. This is the gain for the dirty channel. And this is your clean volume. Okay, now they both share EQ, both channels, bass, middle, and treble, but the amp's really voiced to where that's not an issue. I mean, it sounds great just flipping back and forth with the same EQ settings, which is like what I did in the intro. So the RT part of the Orange Crush 35 RT, it stands for reverb and tuner. It is a digital reverb. It's a great sounding spring emulation, and the tuner, right here, check this out. Right, works great. There's an auxiliary in 1/8 inch for plugging in like your iPod or MP3 player so you can play along with tracks. And also there is a headphone output. Now the headphone output is cabinet simulated and it really sounds great. All right, let's twist some knobs on the clean channel and check this thing out. It's a 4-stage preamp, so it's got a really nice complex sound. Right, that's just the clean channel. I mean, it's touch responsive to my pick attack, and it also responds to my volume control. As you turn it up, it gets a little dirtier. I mean, man, this is a lot for a little amp like this. So to show you the versatility of this amp, I'm gonna start with the tone controls straight up. Right, nice basic clean tone. Now I'm gonna turn the treble down, turn the mid and the bass up a hair, and go to my neck pickup. Really warms it up. And now I'm going to do the opposite. All right, turn the treble up, mid down, leave the bass at about halfway. Get something a little more sparkly. Go to the rear pickup. Okay, let's check out the dirty channel. Same thing, man, super touch responsive and very complex sounding. I've got the gain set pretty high, so we'll start there. You can hear, it really cleans up great. And speaking of, turning down the gain a little more, all right, turn the volume up a hair. So Crush just isn't a clever name. This thing is capable of like crushing amounts of gain. So we're gonna crank up the gain and mess with the EQ some, and you can really hear the versatility in this amp. Right, that's with the EQ settings at 12 o'clock. So let me twist a little bit here. Drop some mids, turn up some highs, turn up some bass. Perfectly voiced for the scoop mid kind of sound, and we can do the exact opposite as well. Bump the mids and get the nice mid point on it. That's perfect for making a lead tone really cut through a mix. So there it is, a quick look at the Orange Crush 35 RT. Man, this is a great sounding amp. I'm just really impressed, man. Orange is really getting it right. For the end here, I've hooked up a Zoom multi-stomp and I've dialed in a delay setting, and I've got it run through the effects loop. That's another really nice feature that I wanted to bring up, is that there's a buffered effects loop as well. So you can hear how great it sounds and how clean it is. Thanks.
You know, playing through that amp and watching you play through that amp, it sounds absolutely stellar.
It really does.
No, I mean, you're playing.
Wow, you're way
And
too nice.
the amp
No,
too.
it's only true. It's only true. Yeah, but the amp is incredible.
Yeah.
You know, I think sometimes people think, oh, a solid state amp, but there's so many advantages. Lightweight.
Yeah, and the closed back cabinet too, which, you know, gives you, especially with a smaller amp and a 10-inch speaker, it just gives you that much more thump.
Right.
There was definitely a lot of oomph for that.
Yeah.
Well, it's got that rock reverb thing going on.
Oh yeah.
You know, that's what they went after with
Right,
the preamp,
right.
and they really nailed it.
Boy, they did, man. I love the complexity of that. It's a 4-stage preamp, you know, and I love the complexity. Of
Yeah,
that.
I mean, we sat down with the whole line.
Yeah,
and we
yeah.
actually had some of them set up, and we were kind of jamming. And,
Yeah,
and
that was a
playing
lot of
things,
fun.
and just the versatility too. I mean, sometimes you think, well, it's a rock reverb, so it's only good for this, but those amps cover a wide spectrum of different genres and styles.
Right. Super clean, pristine, to kind of like slightly broken up, to, you know, gritty, to just full on over the top. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, cool
really
stuff.
cool.
Cool stuff. And I'm going to use that as a segue. Cool stuff. You had a chance to check out a very cool pedal from Moog.
Indeed, I did.
And my favorite thing about this is I'm a synthesizer guy as well. I love keyboards and analog keyboards and things. And Moog had this thing called a ladder filter. And I think that there's an aspect of that in this pedal.
Climbing the ladder filter. Well, looky here.
There it is.
The Moog Minifooger line. We've already taken a look at a couple of the pedals. This one is the MF Drive, and it is a overdrive distortion pedal that has a lot going on under the hood, a lot of flexibility. You can see right here it's got 2 switches for going in tone shaping, 4 knobs, an expression pedal input, and check out the video. You'll see just what this is capable of doing.
The Moog MF Drive is one of the new additions to the Minifooger line of effects pedals. Like the other Minifooger pedals, it is 100% analog, it features true bypass switching, and it has some interesting capabilities that you would not normally expect from an overdrive pedal. At its heart, the MF Drive offers a really versatile overdrive pedal that can be pushed into fuzz area. It's very responsive, very touch sensitive, and it interacts a great deal with your amp. But for starters, I'm going to just go ahead and explain the rig that I'm playing through right now. I'm playing a Schecter Solo 6 with Lawler P90 pickups. I'm going through a Fender 65 Deluxe Reverb reissue amp. And this is what the guitar sounds like with no effect. Now I'll kick in the effect. You can hear the difference. The MF Drive has a lot of features that allow you to really sophisticatedly shape your overdrive tone. I've got it right now set with a gain at about 11 o'clock, and that's sort of a mellow, overdriven amp tone. Now as I bring the gain knob up, you'll hear a lot more hair coming into play. The MF Drive has a two-position switch. You can see it right here. It's called the drive switch. In the down position, it's a more mellow overdrive tone. Flip it up, and it kicks into a higher gear. I'm going to start with the drive switch in the down position, so you can sort of hear how that is a sort of baseline for overdrive, and then flip it up. It's important to note that the MF Drive is also very touch sensitive, and you can roll back your volume level if you want to clean up the tone. It'll be right there with you, and you can go ahead and get some great effects using that volume knob. I'm going to start out with the volume at full bore and then back off a bit on this particular riff. Of course, Moog always likes to give maximum flexibility to the guitarist, and they've included a couple of other controls on the MF Drive that are worth noting. The tone control, as you might expect, allows you to go ahead and taper back on the high end of the effect. I'll go ahead and give a quick demonstration of how that sounds. Bringing the tone back up, we're going to take a look at the filter knob. This is a particularly interesting one because it's also going to be interactive with an expression pedal, which we'll be demonstrating momentarily. Here's the filter. You can see as I work it through the range, it gradually brings in more and more of high end. Another cool feature of the MF Drive, it has an expression pedal input over here, so you can use your expression pedal, which you'll need to purchase separately, to go ahead and control the filter function in the effect. Let's check it out. With its broad range of tones and its expression pedal capability, the MF Drive offers a lot of versatility to the adventurous guitarist who really wants to try to do some cool things with an overdrive pedal.
the filtering capabilities, the tone shaping in that pedal, it just has to be one of the most versatile drives that's out there.
You can spend a lot of time exploring all the variations and just the extremes that this drive is capable of achieving.
I heard you getting things that almost sounded like a fuzz tone. And then there's just kind of that amp breakup kind of thing.
Yeah, and you know, for me, when I hear something like that, I'm thinking about it from a either recording aspect or an aspect of playing in a band, you know, with other sounds. And you know how you're constantly looking for, it's like, where's that little point that, you know, you keep switching drive pedals, going, oh, let's try this drive, let's try this drive. This one accents the EQ in a different way. This one does. It's all right there.
Any place where you feel you're lacking a certain voicing that you're looking for, check this out. You'll be able to go, and chances are you'll be able to find it. Plus, it sounds great with single coils, P90s, humbuckers, really versatile.
Yeah, you had that P90 guitar. It was really barking through there.
Well, the folks at Moog were recommending that I check it out with the P90, and they weren't kidding.
Yeah, that absolutely sounded great. Sounded great. So Boss introduced a new pedal at the Winter NAMM Show. I happen to have it right here.
There it is.
Well.
This is the DM2W. It's part of the Wazacraft line. Waza in Japanese means art, technique, craftsmanship. So it's indicative of what this pedal's about, which is a customized kind of premium version of one of their pedals. What they've done is they've gone back and looked at the original vintage DM2, and you can get that tone out of this. But you can also take it further and get a more modern sounding analog delay and up to 800 milliseconds of delay time.
Wow, wow.
Yeah, I mean, very, very cool.
Yeah.
Let's check it out. Today we're checking out the DM2W delay, which is based on the vintage DM2 analog delay from Boss. Now the DM2W features those extended Waza features. There are two modes of operation, standard mode and custom mode. In standard mode, you get up to 300 milliseconds of delay time. In custom mode, it jumps up to 800 milliseconds, and you get a clearer, slightly brighter sounding delay. In addition to the extended delay time, we also have some custom control features as well. Let's check this pedal out. I own a vintage DM3 pedal, which is the generation after the original DM2, and I can tell you that this DM2W in standard mode sounds very much like that original analog pedal. It has that warm, almost dark sound that really allows the delays and echoes to sit behind your playing very comfortably. They don't get messy, it doesn't get muddy, they really sit perfectly when you're playing a lead line or when you're playing a rhythm. Let's take a tour of the DM2W. To begin, we have the standard Boss foot switch. Next, we have the repeat rate knob. Now this operates in reverse just the way the vintage unit did. So when you turn it up, you actually get a shorter delay time. When you turn it down, you get a longer delay time. The next knob, labeled echo, controls the amount of echo or delay that's mixed back in with your dry signal. Finally, we have the intensity control, which sets the amount of feedback or the number of repeats you'll get of your echo. The small switch in the center of the pedal is where we engage the custom features. On the S side, it's a standard setting, which means you're getting the original vintage pedal. When you switch it to C, that stands for custom, you're getting the extended delay time in that mode. Finally, we have the check light, which indicates whether or not the pedal is bypassed or active, and it also shows you the battery status as well. We have 3 audio connections on the DM2W pedal. The input accepts input from your guitar. The direct output sends the dry guitar signal out, so you could route that to a second amplifier. And the output jack carries the delay signal, or if you're only using one output, it carries both the delay and the dry signal. Finally, we have the rate jack, and we'll take a closer look at that later, but it allows you to use an expression pedal to control the delay time. Let's begin with a very short delay time. Now, I've discovered something interesting with this pedal, and that's when you have the delay time turned down, it actually fattens up the signal, but you don't hear a discrete repeat. So here's our dry sound with a little bit of overdrive from the SD1W. Now I'll engage the DM2W with that really short delay time. It's almost like you're boosting the lower mid-range, giving you a fatter tone that really sings. Now let's increase our delay time. I'll turn off the overdrive. Now I'm going to turn down the amount of repeats, and I'm going to turn up the delay time a little bit to give us a nice slapback effect. That's a nice popping slap delay, but it's not so bright that it gets in the way of what you're actually playing. It sits nicely behind your notes. Now we'll turn the delay time all the way up in standard mode, which is going to give us 300 milliseconds of repeat time. I'll also turn the intensity knob up a bit so we get a few repeats. So that's about 300 milliseconds of delay time, and it's the longest delay that you can get in standard mode on the DM2W, but it's not the longest delay time in the pedal. If we switch over to custom mode, we can get longer delays. I've made the change to custom mode, and I'm at about 3 o'clock on the repeat rate knob, and this is the delay time we get with this setting. That's a short slapback type echo. I've got a number of repeats going here, so it's almost giving us an ambience or a reverb type of an effect. And you can hear that it's a little bit brighter than in the standard mode. Now we'll turn the repeat rate knob up to about 12 o'clock. So in custom mode, the delay is a little bit more open sounding. Has a little bit more top end to it, a little bit more of a discrete echo, and this is nice if you're playing rhythms that incorporate that delay into what you're playing. I got the repeat rate knob set to about 9 o'clock now. Now remember that the knob actually works in reverse on the DM2W. As I turn the knob down, the delay time goes up. That's a nice, rich sounding analog delay. Really sits well with the notes, but it has a little bit more articulation than in standard mode. Now we'll turn the delay time all the way up. We'll have about 800 milliseconds of delay time. With 800 milliseconds of delay time, the DM2W is great for those soaring lead tones where you really want it to sing and you really want to get that big grand effect out of the pedal. The DM2W definitely does that in custom mode. One of the nice extended features about the DM2W is that you can use an optional expression pedal to control the delay time. I've connected an FV500L, which is a volume pedal from Boss that also has an expression pedal output, into the rate input jack on the DM2W. And this allows us to control the delay time just as if we're using the repeat rate knob. Now interestingly, it actually works in reverse the same way that the knob does. So when it's all the way back, when it's in the heel back position, you're getting the longest delay time. When it's all the way forward in the toe down position, you get the shortest delay time. So I've got this plugged in, the pedal is all the way back in the heel back position. And we're getting that longest delay time. Now if we move that forward, we'll get the short delay time. And of course you can set it anywhere in between that you like. And this allows you to change the delay time in real time as you're playing. You can also get some great special effects with this, because as you move the pedal, if it's sounding a repeat, you get a change in the pitch. So if we start at a short delay time and we change the pedal position while we're playing, you'll hear that pitch change. So you can put that to work for some very creative effects. One other thing about the DM2W is that it will self-oscillate. That means that if we turn up the number of repeats, it'll actually begin to oscillate and create a pitch, and you can control that pitch using the pedal. So I'll turn the intensity or the feedback all the way up and get the pedal oscillating, then we'll move the pedal so you can hear that changing. So some awesome effects there that you can put to work on stage or in the studio. If you're looking for an analog delay pedal that can combine both vintage performance and modern features and modern tonality, the DM2W Waza pedal from Roland Boss is a great one to check out. It has that original DM2 sound, but you also get the extended delay time and some nice extended features as well. So I've got several go-to delays in my collection that I compare everything to. So I know what it's going to sound like, right? And one of those is the DM3, which was the generation of vintage pedal after the original DM2. Man, this thing just, it's there. It's that vintage sound. I mean, it sounds like the real DM2 did.
It looked like you're having a great time in the video, I gotta say.
All the Waza pedals are incredible. The SD1W, the Blues Driver. They sound just great, but this DM2, that definitely is one that well, this one's going on my board. Sorry.
High praise.
Sorry, boss. Yeah, you're not getting that one back. This one's mine.
Okay. Boss, not going back.
It'll be on my pedal board if you need it. So, you know, we talk about all these cool instruments, we talk about amps, we talk about pedals and all these different things, and one aspect that I think a lot of people overlook, and I certainly have, although Don, you probably haven't because you spent so much time as a road warrior, is protecting those instruments. I mean, you get a great guitar, and you want to get it to the gig safe. You don't want it to get all beat up. I mean, having a relic thing is great, but not because it's been thrown off a truck and you know rolled across the pavement or whatever. So let's take a look at a new case from Gator that, I mean, I'm just excited about this case. It's the GWP case.
I'm feeling the excitement, man.
I'm just so excited.
Preach it, brother. Come on.
Yeah, it's a waterproof, dust-proof case that is just incredibly sturdy, but it's lightweight. So let's check this out. This is the new waterproof, dust-proof, injection molded case from Gator Cases. It provides the ultimate protection for your guitar or your bass, whether you're on the road, taking it to gigs, or just storing it at home. The waterproof case is made from an NK7 resin material. It's extremely durable, extremely impact resistant. It's so sturdy, I bet I could stand on it. It doesn't give it all when you press on it, no matter how much weight you apply on it. To keep the case closed, whether it's being carried by you, by a baggage handler, or on a conveyor belt, we have power claw latches. Now, these are very easy to open. You simply pop down and lift up. They swing open like this. There's 4 of them, so the case is extremely secure once you have those latched up shut. And you can also padlock those closed for extra security. Gator thought through every aspect of this case, even how it opens up. When you open it, it swings open easily, but then there's a spring-loaded point that the lid snaps past, and at this point, it won't fall shut. So if you're getting your instrument out, you're working with gear you're putting into the compartments, you don't have to worry about the lid slamming shut on you. The inside of the case has a crushed blue velvet lining, and it's extremely well padded everywhere the instrument contacts it, with extra pads to hold it in place, so it'll stay secure no matter how it's being handled or how it's being carried. The case I have here is shaped to fit a Stratocaster or a Telecaster. There's also a version available for a Les Paul and for basses as well. We have 2 generously sized compartments, and you could actually fit 4 regular sized pedals into these, a bunch of the smaller pedals, even a couple of larger pedals, along with your straps, cables, picks, tuners, lots of room for all your accessories inside the waterproof case. Despite how rugged and durable this case is, it's actually very lightweight. It comes in at just around 19 pounds, so when you put a standard guitar in there, you're going to be anywhere from 25, 26, 27 pounds or so. We do have built-in wheels on the back, so you can lean that back and roll it behind you on a sidewalk, and we also have soft-gripped handles, so it's very comfortable to carry. The new injection molded case from Gator is extremely rugged. It has a waterproof and dustproof seal. It's easy to transport with wheels on the back, with soft carry handles on it. It's great protection for your instrument, whether you're on the road or you're playing locally. So that case, I mean, if you've got an instrument you want to take care of, you want to take it on the road, just take good care of it at home.
Is it ATA approved?
It is ATA 300 approved, so you know it's certified to stand up to abuse.
Well, and believe me, I'll abuse my guitar on stage. If it's going to get destroyed, I prefer it be at my hand, not at the hands of a baggage handling professional.
You know this from all your years on the road, is that a lot of times you aren't actually handling the instrument yourself.
Oh yeah, you don't see it until you're on the stage. So you know, knowing that it's protected from the time it leaves your hands at the end of the night till the time you see it, you know, at sound check again, it's really important. And man, another thing too is, with a case like that, it's sturdy enough to withstand the road and, you know, the baggage handlers, but it's light enough that you can carry it around yourself.
Right, and with the wheels on it.
Yeah, with the wheels on it.
It's really easy to get around. I mean, it works great, works great. So we've got a couple more great products coming up here. We're going to check out the PRS S2 Standard 22, but we're going to wrap things up with the Hughes and Kettner Triamp Mark III, which you got to check this amp out. I keep saying that, but man, it is just incredible. So let's jump in. Let's keep things moving here. The PRS, Don, you had a chance to play this one. The S2 stuff's great.
Yeah, back to the whole S2 format again, but I really, really like it. I can't say enough good about the whole S2 line in general. You know, that it's all really consistent, plays really well, American made. You know, I love the pattern regular carve on the neck. I love the bevel on the body, and it's just, you know, full PRS quality. And you know, this is
coming from a PRS guy, dyed in the wool.
And the Standard is kind of, when I think of PRS, I think of the Standard. And this is kind of the epitome of standard with the 22 fret version.
I'm thinking if you are wanting to get your feet wet with the PRS, man, this is a great guitar to do it.
Let's check out the video.
The S2 Standard 22 is a mahogany body, and as you can see, it has 2 humbucking pickups. These are the number 7 PRS humbucking pickups, and you can coil tap those by pulling up on the tone control here, which, by the way, this is a tone control, the volume control, and it's got a 3-way switch which gives you bridge pickup in this position, combined in this position, and neck pickup in that position. It's got the PRS S2 tremolo, which is really smooth, really nice, stays in tune, and just, you know, operates flawlessly. Got a mahogany neck with a rosewood fingerboard, and it's a 25-inch scale length. And the carve on the back of the neck is awesome, man. It's their pattern regular. It's just super playable, man. I really like it. And got the standard PRS locking tuners. So let's listen to a few sounds. I'm playing this lovely antique white Standard 22 through a PRS Custom 50 combo. Here we are in bridge humbucker mode. Nice big fat clear bell tones, even in humbucker mode. And of course when you split it, right? It's even chimier, which is great, man. And let's listen to the volume control, because it's got a super smooth taper on it, really useful. Right, you can dial it in exactly where you need, and the same with the tone control. In fact, let's switch to the neck pickup and listen. Dial the tone control back and warm it up a little bit. Right, really versatile, nice big fat sounding guitar, and of course, again, when you split this sound, it's got that really super silky smooth texture to it. And here's what both pickups sound like together. And here they are split. So there it is, the PRS S2 Standard 22.
Man, with PRS, what more can you say than tone and vibe and feel? I mean, it's kind of all there.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. That guitar just, I mean, it just sings, man, and it's so comfortable to play, so easy to play.
You're definitely in your comfort zone on that one.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and a variety of different tones out of it. It's very flexible.
Yeah, that's the other thing, you know. I mean, those humbuckers, again, you know, you can split them, and you don't lose all the body out of the guitar. You know, it still sounds really nice and full.
Right.
Just another sonic option.
And you've played a lot of different gigs, everything from country to pop,
Lots of
rock.
studio work.
Oh, yeah.
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 Yeah, absolutely.
Versatility definitely seems to pay off, especially for a guy like you that clearly looks for versatility.
Yeah, that's something that's just essential to me. Is I want, you know, it's great if you've got a guitar that has one great iconic sound. That's awesome. But wow, what if you can get 2 or 3 or 4?
All right. Well, I've never seen you change a guitar on stage.
Yeah,
all the times I've seen you play one guitar through the night.
Right. Yeah, and so that's what I look for. I look for that option.
Right. And the S2 Standard 22 definitely covers it.
Yeah,
PRS definitely nailed it. But speaking of a particular piece of gear that you could play on stage and cover just about every genre possible, the Beast.
Yes, we have one more video to check out. This Hughes and Kettner Triamp Mark III. The Triamp is an incredible amplifier. It does so much, but with the Mark III, man, well, Don and I went in, and it was so much to talk about. It is such a comprehensive amplifier that I was like, I'll talk, you play, because there's just, man, there's so much to cover with this amplifier.
Yeah, you could go on for a week about this amp, man. Right. It's great.
But what's amazing to me is there's 42 different configurations in this amplifier, and they all sound great.
42.
It's not like, okay, there's 3 good ones and then there's 39.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it's 42 great sound. Well, let's play the video. You'll be able to hear exactly what we're talking about. This is the Hughes and Kettner Triamp Mark III, their new flagship amplifier. It offers 42 different sonic combinations, up to 150 watts of power. It's incredibly versatile whether you're using it for rehearsal, for practice, in the studio, or on stage. I'm joined today by Don Carr, who's going to be doing some playing examples for us. We're going to take a little tour of the amplifier. What we have here are 6 different amplifiers, 6 different preamp voices, and we can combine those with 3 different sets of power tubes. You can switch among all those different combinations. You can set up different variations, switch between them using the foot switch. You can use it in stomp box mode. You can use MIDI presets, all kinds of different things you can do with this amp. So the way the amp is set up is the way that it comes out of the box. It's got a pair of EL34 power tubes here on the far left, and the next 2 sets of tubes are 6L6s. You can actually put any combination of octal power tubes that you want in there. Any pair of power tubes will work. You could have 6L6s, EL34s, KT66s, KT77s, KT88s, 5881s, lots of different options there. Then using these 3 switches on the front panel, you can select which power tubes are active. When you have 1 pair of power tubes active, you get 50 watts of power. 2 pairs of power tubes give you 100 watts of power. 3 pairs gives you 150 watts of power. You do have an overall master volume control, and the amp's tone holds together even at very low volume levels. Let's begin our tour by listening to the 6 different preamp voicings. Now, we've assigned each one of these preamp voicings to a particular set of power tubes to bring out the best in its particular tone. Now, one other thing I want to mention before we get started here is this amp does look intimidating. There's a ton of different knobs and switches on the front of it, but really when you're working with a particular channel, you only have to deal with 1 set of knobs. So we've got 5 knobs for each channel: gain control, bass, mid, treble, and master. Then there is also a master section over here with a resonance control, presence control, and an overall master volume. So we'll begin with channel 1A. That's the channel over here, and it's voiced like a 50s American amplifier, a clean style amplifier. So what I've done is pair that with 6L6 power tubes to give you the effect that you get with one of those amplifiers. So let me call this up for us here, channel 1, and we have now switched to the second set of power tubes, which brings up a set of 6L6s in the middle. Don, play a little bit for us. You can hear that has all the twang and sparkle you'd expect from a clean 50s style American amplifier. You could of course add more hair by turning the gain up. We also have a preamp boost that we'll look at in just a second here. Turning up the master will drive the power tubes a little harder, so you can start to get that breakup that you'd expect from an American amplifier as well. The second channel of amp 1 is this bottom set of controls down here, and that brings up a 60s style British amplifier, a very sparkling, chiming kind of a British amplifier. So we'll switch over to our second preset here, which brings up this channel, running through a pair of EL34s here on the far left. Don, give us a little bit of that. It's really amazing how the tone changes there. The character is totally different than what we heard with the 50s American style amplifier. With this amplifier, the mid-range is very different. We have a chiming top end, more compressed kind of sound when he hits those chords hard. You can hear it really pop and really punch the way you'd expect with an authentic 60s British amplifier. Now we'll move on to amplifier 2. And this is going to bring us to a higher gain, late 60s, early 70s style British amplifier. So I'll switch over to my next preset. Again, we're going to be using EL34s. This brings up this set of controls right here. Don? So you can hear our character has changed once again completely. It now sounds more like a late 60s, early 70s style British amplifier. Not a high gain amplifier by any means, but it still has a nice breakup, great sustain. You switch to the neck pickup, it's really going to sing for you. Moving on to channel 2B, this brings us to that brown sound sort of amplifier. Again, we've got a British amplifier, but in many cases, the players who were using these in the 80s were modding them for a bit more gain and a bit different tonal response. So let me switch over to that. We'll call up the preset. Once again, we're using the EL34s. Nice. You can hear all that sustain, a bit more gain coming out of it. We've got a little bit chunkier bottom end, a nice sparkling top end to it as well with really great articulation. Moving on to amplifier 3, we've got a higher gain 90s style. It's actually sort of voiced like the duotone from Hughes and Kettner. So let's listen to that. We'll switch over. Now this particular one is also using EL34s. Lots of gain there, lots of bottom end. It's a really tight, chunking sound when he mutes those lower strings, but it still is articulate, very vocal, very liquid when he's playing leads. The final amplifier voicing in the Triamp Mark III is channel 3B. Now this is a high gain, lots of bottom end, lots of top end, sort of scoop mid-range. This is a very modern amplifier tone. We'll switch over to this one, and this is actually going to use the 6L6 power tubes. That's got all that tight bottom end you'd expect. It's really, in this room, it's actually compressing the room. Even though the volume isn't that loud, it's really thumping your chest with bottom end. As Don was demonstrating that channel, we're also using another feature of the Triamp Mark III, and that's the built-in noise gate. Now, there's a very effective noise gate. It has a control on the back that goes from soft to hard. You can sort of turn that to dial in what works best with your particular style and with your guitar. The soft setting works well with single coils. As you move to humbuckers, higher gain pickups, you want to turn it more toward the hard setting, but you can find that sweet spot for it where it's not cutting off your tone. Now you can assign that noise gate using a switch on the front panel, and that can be stored with the presets as well. Now let's listen to what happens when we change the power tube combination that's being used with a particular amplifier. It really does affect the flavor that you're getting. So we'll go back to our clean tone. I'm actually going to set it up for the 60s British amplifier, and we originally demonstrated that using the EL34s. Don, play for us. Right, that's that compressed tone with that chiming top end. Now I'm going to switch over to the pair of 6L6s. You'll hear that the character of the sound changes. So you can hear our character really change there. The mid-range is very different between the 6L6 and the EL34. You don't get that chiming top end out of it, but you do get a rounder bottom end and a little bit fizzier top end as well. Now the other cool thing you can do with the Triamp Mark III is you can actually combine those different kinds of tubes. So if I move to my next preset here, you'll see that two lights have come on, and I've now got the EL34s on the far left and the 6L6s on the far right are active. It's a 100-watt amplifier at this point, but we're getting a combination of those two tube types together. I personally really love the sound of those two tube types combined together. You get the chime from the EL34s, you get that presence out of them, yet you get that round bottom end and that nice sparkling top end from the 6L6s. The two of them combined together is a great, very balanced tone. Now we can also bring up all three sets of tubes. If you had three different types of tubes in there, they'd all be combined together. In this case, we'll have 4 6L6s and 2 EL34s, and the total output power will be 150 watts. So let's step on the switch, hear what that sounds like. Now, of course, the tone gets quite a bit louder here in the studio. We're balancing it for you here on the video. But what's happening is you're hearing a little bit more of that 6L6 character come through. So you have a little bit more open headroom on that, a little bit more round bottom end, and again, a little bit more sparkling top end as well. Yet we still have that EL34 filling in that mid-range and giving us that extra presence and chime. But the Triamp Mark III still isn't finished. There are a lot more features to look at. Let's go back to our EL34 setting here. Play again for us. So that's our reference tone. Now we also have the stomp boost here. So when we turn that on, we're getting a front end boost out of the amplifier. So So it's a nice, warm, round, clean boost that's pushing your guitar harder into those preamp tubes. Let's turn that off. Go ahead. And back on. Nice. So you can use that as a lead boost if you just need a little bit more push out of your amplifier when you're playing your guitar. And you can set that up so that the status of it is either saved as part of a preset, and when you recall a particular setting, that'll come on automatically for you. Or if you have the pedal in stomp box mode, you can simply step on the switch and turn the boost on and off. Continuing on, we also have an effects loop. That effects loop is switchable between -10 and +4 levels, so you can use it with stomp boxes or with rack gear. It has an adjustable level control on the back panel, and we can switch that on and off using a switch here on the front panel, or we can switch it on and off using a switch here on the foot pedal as well. The status for that can be saved as part of your preset, or you can turn it on and off manually whenever you like. The Triamp Mark III also has a master insert, a preamp out and a power amp input that's after all these preamp channels, but before the master section, where you can insert compressors, reverbs, those kind of things that you don't necessarily want to have in the loop, that you want to have active all the time. A few other things we need to talk about with the Triamp Mark III. There's a Redbox cabinet emulator built into the back panel. Now there actually is a new version of the Redbox here. It's called the Redbox Ambience Emulated, and it sounds much more natural than the Redbox did. The Redbox sounds great, but this is even better. It really gives you a real sounding cabinet emulation direct into your PA system, direct into your recorder, into your audio interface if you're in the studio. It's a very versatile feature. There are two different cabinet settings, cabinet 1, cabinet 2, and there's also a low-cut filter that takes out rumble or too much boominess that might come with a direct feed like that. So I've got the Redbox Ambience Enhanced Emulator set up for cabinet 2, and it's also set with the low-cut filter. Let's have Don play a little bit. I'll switch among the different channels, and you can hear what that sounds like direct into our cameras. Okay? Using that Redbox Ambience Enhanced Cabinet Emulator is such an easy way to record. All you need to do is run an XLR cable out of the back of the amplifier into your recorder or into your PA system and you're ready to go. No microphones to mess with, just a great direct signal. The final feature I want to talk about with the Triamp Mark III is the tube safety circuit. Now this is a feature that's sort of in the background until you need it, but it's really cool. What it does is continually monitor the status of the tubes, and it tells you when something's going wrong. If you've got overcurrent, if you've got a thermal problem, if something's going on with the tubes, lights come on the back panel and tell you exactly what the problem is. This is very cool. It makes it easy to troubleshoot the amplifier should anything ever go wrong with the tubes. And speaking of tubes, swapping out the tubes is very simple in this amplifier. You just open up this panel on the top of the amplifier, take out the tubes you don't want, put in new tubes. You can even do it while the amplifier is powered up. Best of all, it automatically rebiases itself. It's almost like there's a technician that lives right inside the amplifier who tweaks the circuit right there, and you can instantly be using those new tubes without having to make any settings yourself. Of course, when you've got a great amplifier, you want to listen to it through a great speaker cabinet as well. Today we've been using the brand new TC Triamp Cab 412, which is this cabinet right here. This is loaded with 4 of Hughes and Kettner's Rock Driver speakers. It really sounds great. It has tons of bottom end, yet it has all that projection and nice sparkle on the top end as well. It's a very versatile 4x12 cabinet. The amplifier does come with a foot switch. That's not an option. It's included when you buy the amp, and you can use that foot switch in 2 different modes. I've been using it in preset mode, where you step on a switch and basically the amp reconfigures itself automatically based on the preset that you saved. Saving presets is very simple. Just hit the MIDI learn and hit the button that you want to save it to, and you're done. The other mode is stomp box mode, and when you're in that mode, by simply flipping this switch, you can just step among the channels very easily by hitting the foot switches. You can also turn the boost on and off in this mode. The foot pedal does send MIDI messages, so you can use it to control other gear, or if you've got a different foot controller that you're using to MIDI control your effects and other devices, it can also address the amplifier, call up different presets, and change channels for you. I hope you've enjoyed this tour of the Hughes & Kettner Triamp Mark III. It's an amazing amplifier, so many different tonal variations available with this. You can dial in exactly the sound that you want. John, you keep using words like the beast, and this amp is just, wow. I was blown away.
Yeah.
I mean, I was there, actually, I spent the day before with one of the product specialists from H&K, and he was showing me the different tube combinations, and we had that amp wound up, and when it hits you in the chest, I mean, wow.
Does it have that sort of visceral, just, you know, gut thumping to it?
Oh yeah, but the nice thing is, this is pretty incredible, and Don and I were talking about this actually, is you can actually turn that amp down to where it's, you know, at a comfortable volume level, usable on a small gig or at home. It still sounds great. They've managed to maintain that tone.
It does. It doesn't like completely lose it. A lot of amps, you know, of that size and that power, when you turn them down,
so it takes the life out of them.
This one, not this one.
No, it has all the presence.
What was the cabinet that you were using?
That's the TC412 A60.
Okay.
Which is a really nice match for it.
It really is, man. I mean, because again, you've got an amp with a ton of versatility and a ton of power, so you've got to have a cabinet that matches it.
You want a cabinet that translates all that. If it just did one thing, you know, if all it did was this particular tone out of that cabinet, it's not going to work with that amp. So you got to have a cabinet with it that really drives all
with that
those
range of tones coming out of the head. You definitely need the cabinet that can accommodate it. Now, and this is basically a pro gigging. I mean, this is stadium-worthy amp.
Oh yeah, at up to 150 watts. I mean, it's
Did you torch it up that hot, or?
I know. We did have all 6 tubes, power tubes on, and it was wound up a little bit. And like I said, it compresses the room when you're.
You can feel it, man. It's a presence.
Yeah, absolutely, a presence. That's a good way to put it. So yeah, if you need to be heard, it can do that.
You
but,
will be heard.
Again, the volume thing, I mean, that's an important thing to talk about, because I think you see the 150 watt, up to 150 watts, and you think, well, I can't use that amp. You know, I can't use it in my home studio or whatever, but you can dial it down, and it sounds great.
And it sounded good with one set of tubes, too. I mean, you didn't, you know, it was more like, again, you know, back to my whole range of sonic options, but still, you know, that's one of the things is that as you add more tubes, it creates a different sound. More useful in the studio. So yeah, it's tons of applications. I mean, yes, it would be amazing for a touring guitarist, but I mean, shoot, man, there's tons of applications for it. I'd say, you know, if you can haul it around, it's great for a gig. You know, if you've got if you've got the space for it on a small gig, it'd be killer. But in the studio as well.
Yeah, well, clearly it can cover, again, the tonality can cover just about any gig that you want to bring it on.
Right. And you know, for home recording, it has that enhanced red box out.
Yeah.
So you don't even have to have a microphone.
Right.
Just plug straight out of the head, and it comes right into your DAW or your audio interface, and your good
just in
tones,
case the neighbors
tones.
don't like you torching it up to 150
well,
watts.
you know, that's kind of their problem, isn't it?
Okay. Minor problem.
Yeah, right. Guys, this has been a blast.
It sure has.
I mean, how many products did we look at, and all of them so cool. Yeah. Don, what was your favorite?
God, wow! How do you pick, man? I mean, golly, we had the the amps from Orange, we had the Firehawk and the H9 and the PRS guitars. God, I mean, how do you pick a favorite out of that?
Did you have a favorite?
Couldn't pick one. I mean, let's face it. It makes me want to go ahead, and I'm actually jealous of you guys. You got a chance to play all 3 of those PRS guitars. You know, what's not to love about the kind of gear that you can come away from NAMM getting excited about, and again, hearing a couple of grizzled veterans get enthused about.
Phrase again. Just going to grab my walker and go home. Somehow I'll survive being called veteran all these times.
Well, you wear it well.
Well, thanks a lot.
Looking forward to doing this again next year.
I think it's going to be a blast. The Winter NAMM Show takes place every year, and Guitars and Gear follows right behind, where we're going to be bringing out the new products and showing them off. So yeah, lots of fun. And thanks, guys. I really appreciate
thanks
you.
Again, man.
John, you came in all the way from LA. We appreciate you being here.
Thanks for having me.
Wonderful to see you. Don,
man.
Always a pleasure to see the guitarist extraordinaire in person.
Thank you.
It's on the name tag.
Yeah,
it is, absolutely. And thank you for joining us for Guitars and Gear. I'd like to thank Sweetwater, thank Premier Guitar for putting this together, for supporting this whole endeavor. It's such a treat to be able to bring you these new products from Winter NAMM. Be sure to tune in next year. I hope you'll check out the other segments as well. Remember, there's segment 1, segment 2, and the one you just watched is segment 3. So tons of products there for you to enjoy checking out. I'm Mitch Gallagher. Thanks for joining us.